All right, it's been a long time coming, and the day is finally here. We are coming to you live from our headquarters, right here at the TV47 headquarters. And of course, we are going to be having a very great conversation that is actually a very important one. Now, the rate of unemployment in Kenya is among the highest in the world. Now, according to a report by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, 70% of the unemployed people are actually the youth. Now, each year, over 50,000 students graduate from institutions of higher learning to industries whose gates are often too hard to open. Now, tonight, on the premiere episode of Youth Connect, we purpose to have a solutions-based conversation of what seems to be an unemployed generation. Now, on this particular program, we also hope that we will be able to give you a platform that connects you to the so much needed opportunities in your career path. I also hope that you've fully charged your tweeting devices with both data bundles and power, because I want you to start tweeting now. Tell us what job you're looking for. You never know. Tag that particular company or person you think you are good enough to work for, and remember to add the hashtag YouthConnect. They might be watching, or they could be on my TL. As always, my name is Eugene Anangwe. Our sign language interpreter is Josephine Ouko. The following story by our reporter, Paul Kirobi, sets the agenda for our conversation tonight.
Statistics has it that about 50,000 students are churned out of university every year, both from private and public institutions. A large percentage of fresh graduates have much expectations in the world in terms of getting white-collar jobs. But when they finish campus and dash into the world, their expectations and cries fall into deaf ears. Daniel Mutuku, owner of an office that runs a website known as Career Point Solutions, provide an opportunity for youths to search for jobs online. The realization that it's hard to get a job out here gave him the idea of coming up with this website that has so far been helpful to many.
Baada ya kumaliza chuo kikuu, wakati huo nilikuwa natafuta ajira. Mara nyingi nilikuwa napokea arafa za ajira kwenye mtandao. Mara nyingi harafa hizi hazikuwa zinaendanisha na kile nilichosomea.
But what exactly do you say about getting a job in Kenya?
Nimegraduate but sijapata kazi. Ukitry kuona kuna job vacancy mahali una apply, unapata, ukishaenda ishachukuliwa na mtu mwingine. So in short, ukiangalia Kenya mzima ni watu tu ni through connection, si papers.
An expert on governance says that education should be key to employment creation, but is it so?
We need to also realize that education is not just education for employment. Education is supposed to open somebody's brain and mind to think beyond and further.
According to reports from Infotrack, last year 29% of Kenyans never had jobs. The standards of living had risen by 21%. The level of corruption has risen, as highlighted by the report, from 16% then. On the other hand, we've seen a reason on the close down and laying off staff by companies. According to reports by Trading Economics, the private sector has shrunk for the first time in 9 months. This depicts a picture of a dwindling economy that offers no promise in job creation. Even those jobs advertised on the social media at times are scams. On many occasions, politicians during their campaigns give promises of increasing job opportunities, but do they really fulfill it? Reporting for TV47 News, I'm Paul Kirobi.
Thank you very much, Paul Kirobi, for that report. It sets the tone for our conversation tonight. Let me introduce our very able panel for our conversation tonight. I'll start off with Elizabeth Mohito, who's actually the manager, Equip Africa Institute. Also with us is none other than Ronnie Osumba, team leader, Kenya Catalytic Jobs Fund. And also with us is Amanda Namai, youth advocate for Zero Hunger. And last but not least is Angela Nancy, who actually chose to be given the title Unemployed Graduate. And I want us to start from there, Nancy. Some of my producers were saying, this is a very harsh title. Why don't we say aspiring, what do you aspire to be? And then we put it there. But the reality of the sad reality is you are an unemployed graduate. Let's start from there. How is this even possible?
It is possible because the system of education teaches us to get jobs. You're not taught any other skills. Right from when you're young, you're told either be a doctor or a teacher. They give you a certain profession to be. So by the time you finish high school and then you go to campus, at the back of your mind, maybe the grades you wanted for a doctor haijafika, so now you want to be something else. So you study that particular thing with the mindset that when you're done, you get a job. So that's how it starts from when you're young. So the purpose of you going to school is so that you can get a job, not so that you can become self-employed and hire other people, or that you can do this other stuff. So when I said I'm an unemployed graduate, it might sound harsh, but the reality on the ground, and even from the clip that you've just seen, the people who are like complaining, I finished campus, so what? You know, they don't tell you that when you finish, there's no job out there, like literally. It's after struggling for years. Everywhere you go, you're told you need experience. You know, then once you get experience, now you're overqualified, or now you don't know anyone in any field. So that's the life of a graduate. It circles until now you realize, yeah, that's what it is.
Elizabeth, when you hear this, the higher learning institutions are training us, and we are just going out there, 50,000 every year churned out of these public or private institutions. And all of them, or most of them, are out there trying to wonder what do they do next with these particular degrees that they've been able to get from these higher institutions. What does that make you feel, first of all, as a person who's actually playing a key role at these higher learning institutions?
Okay, thank you. I think what I would say is that there has been a lot of mismatch between the skill and the employment. Employability is geared towards having students with skills, but then what is required in the industry is totally different. And because of this, that is why we have overqualified graduates or graduates who have come to the market, yet there is no skills for them or employment opportunities for them. And this basically is as a result of dwelling so much on the management courses other than the technical courses that are geared towards equipping the students or the trainee with the relevant skills that the job market requires.
Right. But Ronnie, when you sit there listening very keenly, that we have people who are overqualified for the job market, while on the other hand we're being told that the jobs are there, but we're lacking people with enough skills to do those jobs. Talk to me about what you feel about this.
Eugene, I think we're living in a period of, uncertainty, in the sense that, on the one hand, we have a lot of talented, skilled young people.
Yeah.
On the other hand, we have a growing economy.
Yeah.
And it really is growing. I mean, when you see all these billionaires from across the world trooping to Nairobi, there's something happening in Kenya.
Yeah.
And therefore, the opportunities are there, but they're mismatched. And I think this is what she's talking to. There's a mismatch in what the market needs and what we are training our young people for.
Yeah.
So we need to, step back and have two conversations. One conversation is redefining what jobs are. What are jobs? If you're a saloonist, is that a job? And what kind of skills do you then require as a saloonist to be qualified as a professional? But the second thing is then to ask the market, what skills do you need? So that the academic institutions and, we grew up with her in the same village, somewhere here in Nairobi. But so that Nancy's skills are aligned to what the market requires. So Nancy may be very skilled in what she trained for, but the market doesn't need it.
Yeah, but then we're talking about, going back to having conversations with all these stakeholders, but already we've talked about a change of our curriculum. We've already now moved from the 844 to our CBC one. What more do we need to do? Do we need to overhaul the whole system? Amanda, this is now to bring you onto this particular conversation, because your skills in terms of which direction you're interested in has been in the on-farm and off-farm area. What do we need to do then?
I think the key word here is disruption. We're in the age of disruption. So what worked then for the generation of our parents, which, as Nancy said, work hard, or rather study hard, get good grades, get a good job, retire on the job, and get a good pension. that is not the trend that we see today. We are in the age of disruption where we have roles that were not there before. We have, let me call them jobs, but as Ronnie has said, we need to redefine what a job is. We have roles such as influencers, right? At the end of the day, people want a job because they want a source of income. So if someone can be an influencer, who studies to be an influencer? No one ever studies to be an influencer, but we find we have influencers, we have bloggers, we have activists.
And those are jobs.
Those
are... Look at them as jobs.
So we don't know whether to call them jobs or just titles, but for as long as at the end of the day, I am meeting my purpose also. Because you find most of these influencers sort of stumbled into it. Maybe be it fashion, be it agriculture or whatever it is, they were doing it out of the passion, and out of it came the revenue.
But as a young person, if your child came to you today and you asked your child, what do you want to be when you grow up, when you're done with schooling, when I'm done paying your fees, and then they told you I want to be an influencer, what sort of reaction do you expect parents of today to have?
Okay, so right now, if you're asking me, as for my child, I think definitely, depending on which space, definitely go ahead and do it. If that's what you feel God has called you to do, then go right ahead and be an influencer.
Nancy, let's turn the clock back. Same question I've asked. You going to your parents and telling them that I want to be an influencer.
I am also an actress. I did communication and PR in campus, but I am also an actress. So I remember back then you tell someone you want to be an actress, and I remember an aunt of mine telling me that's not a job. You know, you need to go out there, you need to find a job because that's a hobby. That's, you know, something you're doing on the side. But ever since I left European Union, which was my last employer, it's actually this acting gigs that has been paying some of my bills. So if I stopped doing it then because I remember, I think the system in our life is changing. Back then with our parents, it was a bit different because, like I said, we were being brought up to be certain professions which were considered jobs, and you would go back home and tell them you are an actor now, you're acting these things on TV, and they will be like, this one is still looking for a job. So they will introduce some of the people around you, and they'll be like, these are police, a teacher, a banker, but this one is still looking for a job. But I think things are changing now. Like back then, I think the only reason why I went to the university, and that's not even the course I was called to do. I was called to do a certain course. And then the same aunt of mine who told me is a hobby is the one who encouraged me to do communication because I'd shown interest in acting. So she said, if you're not in front of the screen, you can be behind the screen. So she's the same one who again told me, you know, you can do communication because it's related to your course. So that's not even the course I was called to do. But coming to think of it, I think back then it was hard to tell your parents when to do certain things, and because there was also some things that are known that are not correct with the actors and stuff like that. And right now, I think it's easier even with the new system of education. And I think parents are becoming more supportive because it's us. We are the ones who remember those days and, you know, bringing down these people and then realizing the world works in different ways and we need all these type of people to make a complete society.
Right.
So, yeah, back then, now, a bit supportive.
It's a bit, they're a bit supportive. I want to bring back, Elizabeth, on what Ronnie mentioned about redefining jobs and what we should be defining jobs as. And not a better person than you who's Mwalimu yourself or from an institution of learning. How do you define jobs? Let's start from there first of all before we take this conversation forward. Elizabeth.
The issue of redefining jobs is that we need to first of all be clear that the world is changing and technology is taking over. And most of these jobs, the way we knew them in the past is not what is happening now. So if we do not align ourselves to these new jobs that are coming up with the introduction of the internet, with the change of the society and the embracement of globalization, then if we don't define ourselves, redefine even the curriculum, even the way we approach the teaching and the training, then we will maybe become redundant. And the problem will be that maybe if we continue using the old curriculum that does not befit the job market, then we'll be losing our students. As they go out, they will not fit in the job market. And I guess it is important for us to embrace what is now current in terms of competence-based education and training, because if we don't go that way, because new jobs are coming every day. Look, for example, in the tourism industry, for instance. Initially, students would come and train as tour guides, but for the foreigners, so that they can be tour guides to the foreigners. But look at today. In Kenya, for instance, we have the local tourism that has really picked up, and it has loads and loads of job market.
But we still have Nancy and many other Nancys out there who still say they don't have a job, despite having gone through all that you're saying, Margaret.
Yes. I think the best way to approach it is that it is important to think beyond and look at exactly what is happening in the economy and even in the environment and align ourselves. I think learning is a continuous process. And if one, for instance, what Nancy has said, that she did not even train for the job that she later on or she's doing now. And I think the most important is to look at the connection between what we have learned in the past and looking forward, what else can we add so that we continue redefining ourselves according to the job market.
Right. Yes. So we need to redefine and we need to remodel ourselves according to the current trends. The big question here is that really happening? We need to be able to ask ourselves those particular questions and many others. We're going to be taking a very short break right now. And of course, when we come back, we move this conversation forward. We'll be hearing from you. We'll be reading your tweets. All you need to do is simple. Just tweet at Eugene Anangwe or at TV47KE. Remember, the hashtag is Youth Connect. We'll be sampling those tweets in a very short while. 22047 is the number to send those short messages. We'll be coming back. Youth Connect is back shortly. Stay with us.
World of M-Truck Solutions, your trusted provider for bulk SMSs. We also offer API integrations for all your communication and payment needs. We also provide you with tailor-made payment gateway solution to receive and disperse cash quickly, affordable and securely. Let us expand your reach and connectivity on USSD, SMS and voice today. Call us on 0723-030-030 or email hello@mtruck.limited.co.ke. For more details, visit our website www.mtrucklimited.co.ke.
With every new week comes new adventures, fresh expectations, and new stories to tell. Where others tell you stories as a youth, we will invite you to the table to critically debate.
We will continuously recycle the same kind of leaders and the same kind of bad leaders that we end up complaining about later if we do not adopt a value and issue-based political system in this country.
Well, of course, here on New Week, we are all about matters youth as youth.
Analyze developing stories and how they are likely to shape up in the new week.
I think youths in Kenya need to find themselves what they're good at.
Where are we in that trajectory as the youth right now? Are we starting where we are?
It's more than just a current affairs program.
Jamii imezungukwa na mambo mengi sana.
Karibu tena mtazamaji, unaendelea kutazama kipindi cha Jamii na Itikadi.
Kutoka kwenye ndoa za mapema,
kuolewa is an option,
mila na desturi,
kuna nguo ya hapa stingirumu na kuna nguo ya chumbani,
dini,
Wengi walipitia kwa many boyfriends, many girlfriends. Na hiyo ni ukahaba.
Maisha ndani ya ndoa.
Hauoni vile atetema, yeye ndio yapika, ushavyombo kuwa, hapa tusemezane ukweli.
Mazingira.
Kama mimi niko na watoto na sisi kizani na ndugu yangu. Watoto wangu wakiwa kwa umri mchanga sana. Ninaweza kuwa protect kidogo.
Watu wangapi wanafanya kazi pamoja wakikutana ni maadui hawazungumzi. Siku 2-3 haya huyu ana mimba, kwa nini alipatwa na malaika?
Bila kusahau tamaduni.
Sauti za kina nyanya za masogora kufundwa ni sauti 21.
Ungana nami Fiona Kenga kila siku ya Ijumaa saa 12 jioni hadi saa 1 ndani ya kipindi unachokienzi Jamii na Itikadi. Nikupe uhondo.
No one's coming to save your ass now.
My partner's an ex-Marine.
That's the first noise a 357 makes. Want to hang around for the second?
He is back.
Ready or not! The X-Man coming.
The Marine 5 Battleground.
Kila siku ya Jumapili tunakurausha, tunakuchangamsha kwa mziki unaokusisimua na kukukuza kiroho. Tunaangazia wasanii mbalimbali wanaochipuka ili mradi kukufahamisha wewe. Na pia kwenye safari ya Ukristo tutakuletea shuhuda za Wakristo mbalimbali, kwani unayopitia wamepitia na wengine.
Sondo nikaokoka. Date 2 April 2016.
Yote 9-10 ni neno kutoka kwa wachungaji mbalimbali ili kukuimarisha kwenye safari ya Ukristo.
Jesus is the way, the truth and the life.
Bila shaka yote haya unayapata ndani ya 47 Sifa. Nami Liz Mutuku ndani ya TV47.
Right, welcome back. Thank you so much for choosing TV47. We are live and back from the break. This is Youth Connect, and my name, as always, is Eugene Anangwe. Remember, you can be part of the program. All you need to do is tweet us at Eugene Anangwe or at TV47KE. All you need to do is also add the hashtag Youth Connect. We'll be able to sample some of your tweets and your thoughts. We're talking about the issue that seems to be that generation of unemployed people. And of course, we want to hear what sort of solutions can come out of this particular conversation today. And it's time to just have a look at some of your tweets and some of your thoughts that you've been sending. They've been coming through even in the course of the day. And of course, we have one here from Scholar Kamoni at Scholar Kamoni, and she says there's a great disconnect between students and the professional world. Mentorship is a great way to bridge this particular gap. I want to introduce my panelists back to the program. Of course, I want to hear from you. There's one who's talking about a scholarship here. Ronnie, let me hear from you. What role do you think mentorship would play here, and what is making it very difficult for those who are already in the profession to actually hold the hand of the others who are down there?
I think mentorship plays a very critical role. Those who have experienced the world of work in different ways, need to share and guide people. And, just going back, I think, to a couple of the themes that have already been spoken about here, what does education prepare us for? And, Nancy was right to say, we've had a broken system that prepared us for work rather than prepare us for the world. Because the world is not, straitjacket. So you could be training to be a doctor, you could be training to be a journalist, but it never quite works out, in a straight line like that. So people who've gone before and appreciate it. I mean, I trained to be a marketer. I've never been one in my life, right? And I graduated over 20 years ago. But how then do you respond to the things that life throws at you? That requires mentorship. That requires hand-holding and guidance. It requires us to, and I think Amanda is the one who mentioned disruption. It requires us to be disruptive in how we approach the world of work. Right. And so I completely agree with the scholar that we need mentorship, not just as a, and it's a lot of work. It's very hard work to find a mentor. We need mentorship embedded in the learning process so that every learner has access to a mentor as a right, not as something that you actually have to fight for.
Right, and you speak like that, and I'm very impressed that you say that as a right. And therefore, from this particular program, part of our goal is to actually connect people, those young people, and I want this evening to connect that young person who's been looking for a mentor to Ronnie Osumba. How do they get you?
They tweet me at Ronnie Osumba.
At Ronnie Osumba. We've connected you to a mentor right there. Let's take a look at another one. We'll be able to bring the other panelists on the same particular issue. All you need to do is simply tweet and add the hashtag YouthConnect. It makes it very, very easier for us to be able to sample some of those particular tweets that you've been sending right there. I have one here very interesting. It's from at Kentos_SK, and he says, after working the whole day searching for a job in Kenya, it is all that matters, or it's a matter of connections. Kama hauna connections, huwezi make it. And he put there some very interesting situation right there. So he talks about connections here. Let's talk a bit about connections. Amanda, I mean, in your life, as you grew up and, started looking for your job, let's talk about the role of connections. Without mentioning any names, if you had to look for a connection for you to get that first job, talk to us a bit about that.
Yes. So thank you very much for that. So speaking of connections, I will draw it back to Ronnie's point on mentorship. So I'm a beneficiary of absolute great mentorship, even to date, because there's no epitome of learning. Every day I still need to be mentored in my learning curve, in the career path that I'm in right now. And fortunately for me, when I did my undergraduate, the school that I went to, since we're not mentioning names, we did have a mentorship program. So each student is actually matched to a mentor. So this is not just academic, but even professional. So where you can sound out your mentor on how exactly, what prepares you for the market, because it's not necessarily the academic experience. So I am a beneficiary of great mentorship, and that is how I was able to get connected to my first job. And even after getting my first job, I am still being mentored to date, even as I speak right now, because what is always constant is change. So the market is changing, the trends are changing, and you need to be on top of your game. So mentorship, I'll say, get yourself a good mentor, not because you want a job, but because you want to grow. And when you grow, you'll be able to have that value add. So it's not just what you can bring to the table in terms of your papers, but what's the extra edge that you have. And I think when you have someone who's older and more seasoned in the career path that you'd like to take, it prepares you better for where you aspire to go to.
Right.
Yeah.
I think Amanda has been very diplomatic there, not wanting to say that, yes, I had a connection somewhere. Let's talk to Angela. Angela, you've been tamaking. You've been asking. You've been saying, hey, I need a job. And talk to me about how having that connection seems to be working for others, because you do not have it today. You've not been able to get that clear job.
Amanda, you are so lucky. I think I can say that for sure. You are so lucky. From the first time when I got an internship to date, the only thing that's near connection, that I can say was near connection, was a friend of mine sent me, they had a vacancy, they had a position at work, and she sent me, but I had to apply and go for the interview, and she didn't even say I know that person, because it's a huge company. That's the closest to connection that I ever came close. That's the closest I ever came to. I remember there's this one particular job. That's when I knew connection really works in Kenya. It's a job I qualify for. I mean, in protocol, when you're doing protocol in a governor's office, you basically qualify for it if you did communication, because that's all you learned. So when I went there, I didn't get the job, not because I didn't qualify, but later on I had people who were giving out, 100,000 shillings to be called for the job. I'm not going to mention which county because people are being diplomatic here. But the person who got that job is someone who done front office once for a small company. No other experience. I had worked for all these organizations. I had all the experiences. And I remember one in a particular gathering, I managed to meet the person who was in charge. And he told me, it is what it is.
What?
I mean, I'm just going to be playing with you. That's when I realized people saying at Kisutu government do provide us jobs. No. we already scratched that out. It's not going to happen. Older people are going to get senior positions in the government. Younger people will have to bribe their way into this job. So it's just, let's find other means, because connections truly works here in Kenya. And it might not be there, it might be mentorship the way they're calling it, because they're using a diplomatic term, but mostly it's usually connections where someone just calls and says, Ronnie, I'm bringing you someone for interview, give them that job. I know them, they're hardworking, they're doing a good job. This person will go to the interview with myself, and then, of course, they will be privileged because a call was made.
And they know someone.
And they know someone. So there's connection and there's mentorship.
All right.
Connection works more.
Eugene, I think that we need to be careful.
We need to be careful.
This is a caveat.
Yeah.
We need to be very careful between what we mean.
Yes.
I mean, with what we mean between connections, mentorships, and these are the things that Nancy is talking about.
Right. The connection I'm thinking of, the person who treated as meant was you need to know someone.
So
you to be able to
there's
that.
knowing someone who gives you a through pass.
Yes.
And I will be frontal with you on this particular issue. Though we know it is part of the Kenyan culture, it is not, the majority of people who get jobs is not through connections. Let us be very clear on that. A majority of people in Kenya today who get jobs get it because of their skill, their competence, and their networks. Not connections.
Okay.
Not being given a through pass.
Right.
So we
That's
must.
true.
It is very true. By the way, let me tell you, no organization, professional or world class, will survive, and I will tell you this for a fact, will survive if they do not follow a professional way of onboarding staff. You can't have, 10%, 15%, or 20% people who are given through passes. But if it is a culture, an organizational culture, to give people through passes, that organization will not say three years.
But
that I can tell you for free.
Connection does not mean that this person is less qualified. I might be overqualified for that job. I just needed you to tell me you're looking for a position,
Still.
and then I go for that.
Nancy,
interview.
let's not
big
mislead young Kenyans.
Big organizations might rely on skills,
But let's not
a
mislead
lot of
Kenyans.
these ones-
I have worked in very big organizations in this country. Cooperative Bank, Safaricom, Oracle. Not one did I have a connect. Not one. I saw an advert on the papers, I applied, and I made it.
Yeah, but
Right?
Ronnie, let's be realistic. I think what we're trying to say here is that much as a bigger percentage of those who are getting these jobs do not really get them because of those connections, let's talk about those who have to get those jobs because of those connections and unfairly compete with those who have the skills, but because they don't know that person, they don't know a Ronnie, probably has more connections and he gets that particular job. Let's talk about that culture. Regardless of how small it is, let's talk a bit about that culture, how it is actually leading to the more numbers of people who are young and they do not have these jobs. Let's talk a bit about that. What do we need to do? Because this conversation today is not about finger pointing, it's more of solutions finding. How do we deal with this erratic culture of, I need to get a job because I'm connected to this particular person?
Well, first, I would like to clarify a point with Nancy. There is a stark difference between mentorship and connections. A connection is, loosely said as a through pass. But mentorship is a hand-holding through your journey of growth. So I can say, I know Nancy, give her a job. And that is different from me mentoring you and teaching you the ropes and telling you this is how, if you want to be a successful actress, and because I've been an actress for 15 years, this what to look out for, avoid these pitfalls, this and that. That is totally different from having connections. So I'm a beneficiary of mentorship, which in turn, because it comes naturally. I mean, if I've been growing you and grooming you, then I know you're suitable for this particular role and position. So let's seek to grow first, and then when you have your value addition, that this is a well-packaged person, I don't just have the grades, I can articulate myself well, I know what's happening in the world, what's happening in the industry, I can give you a solution, then I can say, you know what, I know Nancy, you can give her a job at TV47, and from there on, it's your competency to maintain the job. However, when it comes to undue influence because I know someone, I think that's the culture that we have to fight.
Right, let's fight that culture. Let's hear from Margaret. How do we fight that particular culture of, I'll get this job because after all, my uncle knows so-and-so, and at the end of the day, I'll get that particular job. Vis-a-vis the fact that we need to impart more skills to the people so that they are rightfully employed because they rightfully actually qualified for those particular jobs.
What the government of Kenya is doing right now, with the change of curriculum and moving towards, equipping the students with proper skills in line with the current job market, they are emphasizing on the need to have mentorship incorporated within the learning environment. And if you look at the system today, the one that is being adapted for the technical, vocational education and training, is that it is a must that student starts being mentored from day one.
So mentorship is a must.
It's a must.
All right.
It's within the system.
I want you to hold that. Let me take Joyce Waweru, who's actually calling us all the way. Is it really all the way? From Nairobi. Because we are in Nairobi. Joyce, how are you doing this evening?
Very well, thank you.
All right, talk to us.
For the last 15 years, I've worked with youth.
Yes.
On
Carry on, Joyce. Carry on, Joyce. Carry on.
The biggest challenge for the youth today is kazi ya kutafuta kazi Kenya ni kazi kuliko kazi yenyewe. On a daily basis, I'm mentoring, coaching, and working with youth who don't have jobs. They may be high school leavers, they may be graduates. The statistics on the ground are over 13 million educated young people cannot get a placing or an opportunity to even work. It's heartbreaking. I'm a mother, and my daughter is a graduate. She has 2 master's degrees. But she already knows there are no jobs for these young people, so she decided to be a job creator. We therefore, as parents, as community, and as society, need to teach the young people to tell them, kazi ni wewe. A lot of work needs to be done on the minds of the young people in this country.
Right.
I've done this for the last 15 years. There's a vacuum, and the listening for the young people is they're looked at as a burden. Nobody wants to spend time with them. Nobody wants to interact with them. Parents have actually abandoned them. My peers, my age mates have graduates sitting at home, USIU, Nairobi University graduates, that they wake up and they have nowhere to go. They're feeling helpless, hopeless. There is no love for them. And ambiwa asubuhi umeenda kutafuta kazi. Peleka CV pahali fulani. Yet we know technology took away jobs. We're not going to fight with technology. We already know about the global economic recession, which is the white-collar jobs have run out. We therefore need to create what we are calling no-collar jobs.
Right.
There has to be a place where these people need a listening and a speaking to.
Right. So apart from just telling these young people that kazi ni wewe, what would be the other solution? Maybe listening from you tonight, probably we can be able to find or help someone out there listening or watching us tonight.
I'll tell people to look for opportunities around social skills.
All right. Thank you so much, Joyce. You remember, you can also call us. There's a number running on your screen right there. You can be able to call us on those particular numbers. But also remember, you can tweet us, or you can also send us an SMS to 22047. We'll be able to sample some of your messages. But we're still going through some of the tweets that have been coming through. The hashtag is Youth Connects, and of course when they come through, we definitely are able to see them right here in real time, and we'll be able to read and sample them right here. But maybe going back to that particular issue of connections, it's still coming back right here, but let me sample this one from Jamal, who says that I know of a person who has a degree from Makerere but still doesn't have work. It's very frustrating. Margaret, I mean, are we causing these young people to be very frustrated and feel cheated and feel wasted? Imagine all those hours of your days of your life going through your papers, doing your dissertation and all that, only for you to go back and have nothing to do with those particular papers. Let's speak hope to these people tonight. What would you tell them?
What I would say is that taking the aspect that they, change the mindset, that as the caller had said, that kazi ni wewe, so that the skills that you gain from whatever institutions that you're trained from, that it is important that as we mentor the youth, we also mentor them around the fact that not all jobs have to be employable. You're not supposed to only think or focus on employability. That the fact that you can actually not be a job seeker but a job creator, and taking the advantage of the situations and the mentors and the mentorship programs, the connections. And I think the best thing is that for us in the institutions of learning, that we are able to impart the social skills necessary for one to create a network within their environment of learning, and connect them with the people who have, who can connect them to the job market. And not job market for employability, but even as employers themselves, starting from small towards building within the sphere of their interest. Specifically,
I see Angela just nodding her head. And probably I'm thinking, is it what I've heard from many young people who say that is easier said than done? Nancy, talk to us about whether you feel this is easy or it's just something that is on the papers, theoretical.
Okay, I will tell you the truth on the ground. From when you're growing up, from when you're young, you're told when you finish school, you'll get a job. So now you've finished school, you've gone out there, you've hustled, you've tried to get a job, you've not found a job. Then 10 years later, someone is telling you, you need to do business. Have you ever considered starting business? So all these years of me job searching and not knowing if I have any skill to do a business, let me tell you the truth, not everyone is an entrepreneur. If everyone was an entrepreneur or someone who can start business, then who will be working for us? Suppose all of us go into business, we cannot all be bosses. There has to be some people who will work for you. So that's what people don't understand when they tell you, you need to do business. Number two, this skill of opening up your mind to the possibility that you can actually create a job for someone cannot start when you're 35 years or 40 years with 20 years of hustling, trying to look for a job with the shoes looking like those shoes. It can't just start immediately. It is something that needs to be built up from right when you're growing up. It is something you need to discover yourself. And then business requires a lot of patience. I think most people who prefer to be employees, it doesn't mean that we are lazy or we are bent on making other people's dream come true. It's just how the society works. We cannot operate on a society that has only businessmen. So maybe moving forward, you can start and grow these skills from people as they are growing up, and then they will discover themselves that my power is doing business, my power is being employed. I am okay with making other people's dreams come true, so I'll just continue with looking for a job until I get one, or I'm okay with doing this and that and that. if I would be getting 100 shillings every time someone would tell me, why don't you start a business? I would be so rich right now, but it is very insensitive.
Yeah, but then Ronnie has the money for those who actually see his title. Ronnie is the Mr. Moneybags, and we have
This
Nancy
money tag
here.
keeps chasing me.
Who talk to us a bit about it, Ronnie? Yes, Leo Funguaro, talk to us.
First, let me take a step back to just address a couple of issues.
Yes.
I think we need to change the narrative about jobs. And the narrative about jobs needs to change from, one, the purpose of education. And I hear Nancy getting frustrated because, unfortunately, this is the narrative we have had all our lives. So many vijana.
Mwisho wa kusoma.
Mwisho wa kusoma. I mean, that song should be banned forever in Kenya. Because education's purpose is not to get you a job. It's not. We send our kids to school not so that they get a job at the end of the line, but so that they are empowered to appreciate society, to appreciate humanity, and be able to make reasonable, logical decisions. That's what we do. Now, pack that. Secondly, the alternative to not finding a job is not always a business. So the fact that we keep telling our kids that either you're working or you're an entrepreneur, full stop, is also wrong, right? Nancy has said today she makes her keep, and she says she's unemployed, but she says she's also an actor. That's your keep, Nancy. You need to sharpen your skills in how to be the best actor. The gig economy, 5 years ago, was quantified by Institute of Economic Affairs in Kenya to be 26% of our GDP. That's larger than any other sector. Any other sector. So if we were to take the gig economy as a sector, it would be our largest sector today. So all those guys you were talking about, influencers, YouTubers, actors, musicians, artists, spoken word. It's massive. I think we need to remodel what we tell our children. You go to school so that you can be able to be empowered to then develop skills that you can monetize or commercialize. Whether that is in a formal job, whether that is in a business, I don't know, whatever form it takes. Now, again, Amanda mentioned this thing called disruption. I don't think we have appreciated what disruption is. And I had Joyce, and I appreciate Joyce for all the work that she has done with young people, she says, for over 15 years. But I think even youth workers like Joyce, need to be reskilled because the world has shifted. It's no longer the same way, the way we were, empowered or, encouraged as young people is not the same way this new generation needs to be encouraged. Disruption, technology has not taken away jobs. Technology has made jobs more efficient. What it has then done is created new opportunities. But we are not building skills for young people to go into those new opportunities. We are telling them technology has taken away jobs.
I will talk about those skills because just last year, or if I'm not wrong, the year before last year, we had over 3,000 people losing their jobs to automation, especially in the financial sector. We'll talk a bit about that when we come back from the break. But of course, we're looking for solutions. We'd like you to tweet us what you think would be the solutions to some of these things that we're hearing right as far as the frustrations the young people are having, including you yourself watching us tonight. What should we do? What needs to be done? We've already been told where the jobs are. Some of them, they're actually in the gig sector. Of course, those who are in the tech area, the YouTubers, bloggers, already that's a take. Probably start thinking of how you can be able to start doing that. But when we come back, we'll be moving the conversation forward, but also reading more of your tweets. Tweet us at I'm Eugene Anangwe, or you can tweet at TV47KE. The hashtag is YouthConnect. We'll sample them when we come back. Stay with us.
the largest private university in East Africa. 164 fully accredited programs, world-class facilities, a network of collaboration with the leading universities. This is Mount Kenya University, unlocking infinite possibilities.
Welcome to the exciting world of M-Truck Solutions, your trusted provider for bulk SMSs. We also offer API integrations for all your communication and payment needs. We also provide you with tailor-made payment getaway solution to receive and disperse cash quickly, affordable and securely. Let us expand your reach and connectivity on USSD, SMS and voice today. Call us on 0723-030-030 or email hello@mtruck.limited.co.ke. For more details, visit our website www.mtrucklimited.co.ke.
Every week, TV47 Primetime News will bring you current affairs told in a different way. We will keep tabs, by the way, on developing stories and also seek to set the agenda as far as news is concerned.
All right, we will endeavor to put light on every spot by asking your questions while holding power to account.
Indeed, and to the youth in Kenya and across Africa, that connecting factor that you've been waiting for is finally here.
So the showbiz industry in Kenya is worth over 200 billion shillings, with more youth joining the scene. There is need to have real conversations with key players.
Don't forget, we will bring you news that depicts the real living situations of people living within the diaspora.
And we go on ground in search of facts. Facts that will help us put your leaders to task in regards to the pledges they made to you.
Jamii imezungukwa na mambo mengi sana.
Karibu tena mtazamaji, unaendelea kutazama kipindi cha Jamii na Itikadi.
Kutoka kwenye ndoa za mapema,
kuolewa is an option,
mila na desturi,
kuna nguo ya hapa sitting room na kuna nguo ya chumbani,
dini.
Wengi walipitia kwa many boyfriends, many girlfriends. Na hiyo ni ukahaba.
Maisha ndani ya ndoa.
Huoni vile atetema, yeye ndio yupika, ushavyomba kuwa, hapa tusemezane ukweli.
Mazingira.
Kama mimi niko na watoto na sisi kizani na ndugu yangu. Watoto wangu wakiwa kwa umri mchanga sana. Ninaweza kuwa protect kidogo.
Watu wangapi wanafanya kazi pamoja wakikutana ni maadui hawazungumzi. Siku 2-3 haya huyu ana mimba, kwa alipatwa na malaika.
Bila kusahau tamaduni.
Sauti za kinanyanya za masogora kufundwa ni sauti 21.
Ungana nami Fiona Kenga kila siku ya Ijumaa saa 12 jioni hadi saa 1 ndani ya kipindi unachokienzi, Jamii na Itikadi. Nikupe uhondo.
Right, welcome back. Of course, it's a conversation that has been going on even behind the scenes when we're taking that particular break. It's a heated one right here. But of course, we're also thankful that you are also streaming in your thoughts on this. It is your show, Youth Connect. The hashtag is Youth Connect. Always add that particular hashtag. It makes it easier for us to track those particular tweets and read them right here. We are also receiving your calls. All you simply need to do is call us live via the numbers on your screen right now. We're also receiving your short messages, and it is 22047. You can definitely do that, and we'll sample some of those particular calls and messages coming through. Our conversation tonight is based or anchored on the issue of unemployment. But we want to have a conversation that is actually, results oriented. It's not just complaining and complaining. Let's talk also about the solutions. Even as you tweet that particular frustration, tell us where you think the solutions can be found. And of course, before we went for the break, we were sampling some of the comments. We have more right here. Ronnie Osumba, you say networks is not about connections. What then is it? That's a question from @Ponge Web. And they continue to say you have to know someone to give you a through pass to get a job in Kenya. That is the culture in Kenya, and it's very, very painful. Ronnie.
I mean, we're not saying it does not exist. And we all, I think, seated here watching at home, know and appreciate that it is there. What we're saying is, however, we need to be able to distinguish between corrupting your way into a job and building networks that help you get the opportunities.
How do we kill this culture then? What do we do about this culture?
Because I mean, let me tell you, we make a lot of noise about corruption in public sector. It's horrible in the private sector. It's horrible in the corporate space. You know, not just getting a job, winning a tender, getting a promotion. It's rampant. So over time, the culture of, you know, buying your way into things needs to be dealt with. It's a value-based conversation. I think at the end of the day, Kenya needs to have a very serious conversation, both in the public space and the private space, about our values and the things that make us Kenyan, and the things that build a culture that we can be proud of, that we can pass on to our kids, and they can pass on to theirs.
Right. We have Kevin from Meru, who's actually joining us by way of phone. Kevin, karibu sana on Youth Connect. Talk to us tonight.
Yes, I'm Kelvin.
Yes?
Yes, I wish to contribute on the issue of unemployment.
Kindly speak a bit louder than that.
Yes, I wish also to comment on the issue of unemployment.
Yes.
And my point is, or rather my take here is,
yes,
I think majority of us have, rather the mindset here has always been that people have always had that kind of an attitude where immediately out of school, they expect the white collar job.
So after school, we expect a white collar job.
White collar job, yes. And that one has always turned out to be a frustration or rather disappointment. Majority of those who don't expect that.
Right. And what would be the solution? So then, what do we do?
I think the solution is in as much as we encourage people to go and have good grades out of school and be assured of a job, but it should also be reminded with the reality that is on the ground that people need to be a bit, initiative. They need to be, come out with ideas. Like I'm embracing, and I want to think it's a good idea for the government to have this CPC implemented. I feel it was an idea that should have started a long time ago. But right now, and the days to come, I think it will have come to this issue of unemployment because CBC tries to cater for the skills. It nurtures the talent at a young age. These people with 5 or 10 years to come will not be having a problem of unemployment because for them, they will do it for themselves. They'll go for those basic skills, find those odd and jobs, the village, and work it out. But this issue of expecting white-collar job employment, I had a degree, I had a master's, I expect this one,
so it has to stop. It has to end. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kevin from Meru. Thank you for calling us. I think this is resonating well with what Ronnie earlier said, that we need to ban that song, So Many Vijana. It is actually putting more expectations for a job after kusoma. I used to think they say, mwisho wa kusoma utalala usingizi sana, because we used to wake up very early in the morning, and today, 4 a.m., 3 a.m., you're still up, and ulimaliza kusoma. All right, let's take another look at the tweets that are coming in really fast. We have Awor, who actually says, you say networks is not about connections. I think we've actually gone through that. There's another one here from James, who says that the value of education is not to pass exams and get a job, rather inspire one's mind. I think this one, Margaret and the rest of the panel agree on that particular one right there. Let's take a look at this one. Again, James comes and says the youth need to know that they are leaders in their area of function. Be a leader you want to see. let me bring in Amanda. Amanda, what does it take then for young people to actually embrace what is being said here? Because we need to actually correlate reality on the ground versus what people are being told. Because at the end of the day, it is true, we still have people out there who do not have these particular jobs. And we're here talking about how connections are important, but on the other hand, we're being told that don't actually look for those particular connections. It's not the way to go. How then do we ensure that young people listening to us tonight don't feel frustrated? Because one, we've been told, Soma, you pay your school fees, you finish your education, you're now even being told, kazi ni wewe, you know. Amanda.
Yes, I'd like to introduce a pivot to this conversation about perceptions. So, perceptions, as Ronnie we were having a heated debate, as you had preempted. What is a job? And he also said we need to deconstruct the definition of a job. And right off the bat, I'd like to tell us young people is discover your purpose. What is your purpose? Because if it's always a carrot and a stick approach, you will never ever get satisfied. Even when you do get that job, or so you think, there will always be a reason to make you miserable. Either the pay is not too good, your boss is too harsh, the working hours are long, and a myriad of other reasons. There will never be that destination of happiness. So discover your God-given purpose. What is it that you are called to do? And find joy in it. And, okay, not mentioning names, and as the tweet's saying, be the leader that you want to see. And in terms of building networks, like in the agriculture space, I'm really proud of the youth in agriculture who have grown a network of themselves, and they actually give each other a platform to support each other and even talk about each other, as I'm about to do right now. One of them who's perhaps known somewhere, who created this fad, Ukulima Sio Shamba. So if you're to talk about a formal job, I don't think anyone would even talk about farming.
Yeah.
It is not considered. You know, you're a doctor, a lawyer, a pilot, a nurse, an air hostess, you know.
Neither is it considered a business.
No, it's not within the spectrum of what you'd call a job. But over time, creating this perception that, you know what, agriculture is a noble profession. It's an industry that you can get into and actually thrive in. It's not just a retirement plan. The youth are doing it. And also alluding to another tweet that was mentioned earlier, what's the difference between a network and connections? I can have a connection to Margaret, but I can build a network with other industry players and other stakeholders within my industry. So get to find what is your purpose, what is your talent, what do you enjoy doing, and be so immersed in it and take that initiative, because sometimes, depending on government, depending on your parents, depending on a through pass, depending on all and sundry, might not even work. And this colleague that I'm talking about was actually laid off from a job, and he went into farming, and he's a celebrated farmer right now, and so many others that I can mention. So I think let's work on our perceptions and discovering what our purpose is, because once we know what our purpose is, then whatever it is that we do, be it a job, be it a gig, be it, a side hustle, whatever people want to call it, will actually bring you fulfillment. Because you can get a job, but you will not be fulfilled. So let's work on being fulfilled and building our community.
Right.
Yeah.
What can I do with 5,000 Kenya shillings, Amanda? If I was to be given that 5,000 Kenya shillings as a young person from Ronnie Osumba and his fans, what can I do with that? Let's talk to a young person tonight about the opportunities that are in the agricultural sector.
What can you do with 5,000? Let me think. So the agriculture space is wide. It's as broad as the horizon. So there are different subsectors within the industry. So if you want to get directly into production, first do your groundwork and get in touch with a consultant and see what this 5,000 can do for you. It could be you would need to perhaps top it up with a little bit more money, find some land to lease, which can go for even, you'd be shocked, even 10,000 shillings. Or you can invest it in a cooperative or a SACCO and join up and get into production. So with 5,000 shillings, there is quite a bit that you can do with it.
Nothing. Because the consultant will ask for money.
No, I know.
They're free consultants.
They're not free, but it's not going to be 5,000.
Let me give a story from
Maybe before you come in, Ronnie, with the story.
It's not going to be 5,000. You can tweet me, and I will talk to you at Amanda Namai. Yes. Please, do not listen to Nancy.
Nancy just said you can do nothing.
You can do a lot.
Eugene, allow me to do a quick one because
Ronnie.
you asked
can
a
do a
very
lot.
specific question about 5,000.
Go ahead, Ronnie.
There's this kid in Thika, 3 years ago, gets 10,000 shillings. And this is exactly the question people ask, what can you do with 10,000 shillings?
Yes.
He buys a device. This device is a branding device for identity documents, whether it's your ID or bank card, and he brands it your name and your telephone number. And he does this at the central bus station in Thika town. Today, 3 years later, he's employed 5 guys in different stations. They're earning 150,000 shillings from each device. That's 750k.
Out of 10,000
Over
shillings.
10,000 investment. That's what you can do with 5,000 shillings.
That's why we're sitting together.
Nancy, first of all, hold on, guys. Nancy, why would you say that 5,000 would do nothing? You'd do nothing with 5,000?
It was in regards to farming, because you directed that question to agriculture.
Yes.
So when you direct it to agriculture, then even with the way she explained, she said you have to add something,
right,
to get somewhere to live.
Perfect.
It was indirect.
But Nancy, the same concept.
Ronnie,
the same concept of growing every coin.
Let's take Derek.
Is everywhere, even in agriculture.
Right. Derek is on the line. Derek's on the line from where? Derek, karibu sana on Youth Connect.
Okay.
Go ahead, Derek.
Hello.
All right, we seem to have lost him. So,
I'm here.
Oh, Uko. Okay, right. So talk to us, please.
So, hello. Yeah, I'm listening to what the people are saying.
Yes.
They are saying that you should not have the perception of after school you should get a job.
Yes.
So they are saying that you should not think of after school you should get a job. But from the word go.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
So, but from the word go, they say after school you'll get a job.
I think we've agreed on the show tonight that we are not going to have that perception. In fact, on TV47, we will never play that song. Just to lead by example, that so many vijana mtapata kazi.
Yeah, exactly. So what I'm saying is,
yes,
there should be encouragement from.
All right, Paul, for that. Keep calling, and of course, we'll be able to get you right here. Let's go back to the tweets. Hashtag is Youth Connect. Keep them coming. We have Kijana Stevie, who says it's been an awesome program discussing matters and employment. And of course, Eugene is such a great host. Thank you so much for that. The show is actually still ongoing. Let's take a look at another tweet right here. From Victor Obrierono, who actually says, youth employment, I believe, can be sorted if us, the youth, find our gifts and refine it to be good at what we do, so that we don't necessarily depend on employment, but for us to create our own paths. Give me a chance to pitch to you of a new idea I have and I have been practicing. Go ahead. My Twitter handle is at Eugene Anangwe. Slide in the DM, pitch that particular idea. This is Youth Connect. Keep them coming. Let me see if we have another interesting one here. I have one from Hillary which says, the problem with Kenya is corruption. For you to get a job, you must know somebody or have money. I think this is on the issue of connections. And Kento says, I don't mix up my mind, bro. I don't know what they were talking about right here, but we'll be able to follow up on that one. Don't mix up your mind. All right, there's another one here from Owor which says, it even gets dirtier for the girl child. Some are forced to have romantic relationships with potential bosses so as to be able to get a job. They tell you the degree is nothing to them unless you give in. Let's talk a bit about that as well, because it's an issue that is not even a laughing matter. We have these particular issues where we have sexual corruption at the workplace contributing heavily. Margaret, talk to us a bit about how this probably is something that your institution is working so hard to fight.
No, I think the issue here is that I'll still go back to the social skills.
Yeah.
And, it is important that all stakeholders are supposed to come together. It's a discussion that is supposed to be ongoing.
Yeah.
Because the fact that that girl child, or even if it is the boy child, once they are out of school and they are looking for a job, it is important to enhance their social skills so that if it is assertiveness, what are what would that particular youth look at? The first thing is that they are supposed to actually know what they want and go for it and not compromise. That compromising is as a result of having acquired the social skills.
Is the society too harsh? Have we been so harsh as a society? When I say society, is the older people who have children who are probably looking for a job, and we're saying, I've already schooled you, I've paid so much of your schooling, now you're on your own. You need to go out there and actually find what actually will be able to sort you out. Are we to blame for those of us who actually say this to our children to the extent that they are pushed to the wall to be able to accept anything that will allow them to be able to put that food on the table and pay their own bills because we've kicked them out of our houses kwa sababu wamekoma?
I would want to respond and say that it is true that we are giving a lot of, we have very high expectations of our children because we have taken them to school.
Yeah.
And we expect that at the end of it, that they should be self-reliant, they should move out and get to the world of job. But the buck starts with us as parents to the youth, because it is important to have an interactive engagement with the youth, especially on the aspect of what are their talents, what are their likes, because the majority of the like in the institutions of learning, you realize that they come to learn programs or courses that either their parents chose for them because they expect that they will get an opportunity, they know somebody who can connect them, or they were placed there by the government and because they could not qualify for what they wanted, they end up now maybe choosing or being placed in other programs.
Yeah.
And that is where everything is coming to an issue, because the majority of these students will learn not what they want.
Yeah.
And this brings now an issue, because even when they go out there, they have the papers, but they are not even in the areas of interest. And I think this is a conversation that we all are supposed to have. And as students come in the institution of learning, the fact that now the government has embraced the change of curriculum, it's helping. It will help the youth to learn and appreciate their talents, and even the parents, because now parents are involved in if you look at the CBC, parents are now being actively involved in the learning of their children.
Forcefully, some of them.
Forcefully, which is good.
Yes.
Which is good.
So.
Yes, because now they are able to understand their children and even their God-given talents.
Right.
And like the president said, that we missed somewhere along the line, where when we started converting all institutions to institutions of higher learning, that is where we missed the point. And that is why the government is now realigning itself and changing the curriculum to fit the talents, the God-given talents, and have more programs geared towards the changing world and towards empowering the youth, rather than having them to go out there and look for jobs.
Right.
Can I comment, because I think she avoided that about forced romantic relationship with potential bosses.
Mm-hmm.
When I was an intern, I think that was over 10 years ago. When I was an intern, I remember fellow interns would be so desperate to get permanently employed because this was a prestigious media company. So there was a lot of pressure for you to remain there after the said 3 months. That I remember we were willing to do anything. So it wasn't really an issue when a potential boss would ask you. I wasn't, because I think I was very strict. I was a strong, good Christian girl. So the bosses were like, that one will start quoting for you the Bible. So, but I remember a certain colleague who almost went through depression because, fine, she got the job, before we finished our internship. And I remember us being told that we will die poor because this thing is not solved. It's not going to get finished. So you got to do what to do to get a job. So the thing I'm saying that she went through depression is she already got a job like 1 month down the line, but now she had to keep doing it. Like, it's not a one-off. You have to keep doing it until the boss is the one who decides, now I've gotten a new intern, so off you go. And when that happens, you're let go. So I think at that particular moment, I realized that it's very important to get hired for your skills as opposed to like forced relationships, romantic relationships at work, because interns are always coming, especially for a big company. So when you get dumped and then someone else, and then any small thing you do, you get fired, and then what next, So are you going to find another boss to do that? Like, will you keep doing it? So it used to work a lot. And I learned later on in life that it was not just the media industry. It was a lot of companies were doing it, and it was a normal thing. So this was addressed, I think, when this whole accusations about sex at work and all these talks started. That's when maybe it has reduced, or it's not as open as it was back then during, our time. So maybe it's being addressed now, like even when acting industry, there are people who are saying about all these things, and then Hollywood started going openly, like, with a hashtag. So, and then now people are aware now, like the things that you cannot say to a colleague at work. But yes, for a very long time, and it was not just the female, even for a young guy, and you have your boss is a lady, I mean, it was all over. It was not just for the female, but yes, I experienced it.
Right. Perfect. Thank you so much, Nancy, for actually sharing that particular issue. Let me just read a few tweets right here before we take one last break right here from James. James is actually saying that the grades we get in school don't ultimately define who we are in life. Keenly following and taking notes. Thank you so much, James, and I actually attest to this. There are some grades I got. I will not talk about them here, but here I am today reading that particular tweet. There's another one here from Ponjweb. He says it even gets dirtier. I think we've read this one for the ladies who have actually gone through a lot right here. There's one from Kevin Mutua who says, Yote Tisa. Kumi, remember we have the government, which is also another employer. How hard or easy is it to get a government job? Ronnie, you've worked for the government before. How easy or difficult was it to get a job?
I mean,
you've not worked with government.
But
the president has.
I've not been employed by government, but I've worked in government.
Yes.
But still, how many jobs does the government produce? I mean, the total number of jobs for government are probably less than 10% of the number of jobs in Kenya.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be a factor. Government is not a creator of jobs. It's a creator of an enabling environment.
So when the Reshimiwa go on the podium and tell us that when we go into power, we will create these jobs for the youth, we should tell them ultimately that you're lying to us.
Well, no. We need to hold the politicians accountable for creating a conducive environment to create jobs. Job creation is something that is catalytic in nature. You need to make specific investments to create so many number of jobs. So we still need to hold them accountable to commit to how many number of jobs they will create.
Yeah.
In developed countries like the US, or in Europe, they know that if we make specific investments, 1 million, for example, SGR, we need to hold government accountable. You're putting in 500 billion Kenya shillings in building SGR, you need to commit to us how many number of jobs you're going to create through that project. So yes, we need to hold them accountable for that, but we don't need to expect that those jobs will come from government.
Right. Earlier on, Ronnie, just speaking from your own words, you said we need to define jobs before we even get deeper into it. Now I want to ask you, can you define holding government accountable for creating the environment for jobs. So that at least someone who's watching can be able to say, according to, this is actually the definition, let's go this way. What would be your definition of that?
Of what?
How do we do that? How do we hold government accountable as young people?
By electing out people who don't keep their promise. It's as simple as that. I think we need to, there's a lot of work we need to do as Kenyans.
Yeah.
And one of it is learning what accountability is. As individuals, when you get into a matatu and the matatu is full, it's a 14-seater matatu, and you're the 15th person, we need to hold ourselves accountable and make sure the 15th person does not come in. That's where it starts.
All right.
And then every 5 years, we need to say, those guys who made commitments to us that they will deliver X and they didn't deliver, we need to send them home. So accountability first is personal before you can project it to others. So it's a culture we need to build. You know, running the red light, it really infuriates me. Fine, there's no other car on the road, but it's a red light. Red light means stop. You need to stop. Right. I mean, and as Kenyans, we need to learn these simple things. You can't be in a rush to get to church in the village, and because the quickest way to get to the church is to jump your neighbor's fence and run across his field. Right. It is wrong.
Right.
It's the quickest way. You've not stolen anybody's anything, but it is wrong.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ronnie. That definition is a very long one. Thank you very much. I want to give Josephine Ouko, our sign language interpreter, some time to flex her muscles because she's been doing the sign language interpretation. We're going to take this break right now. But of course, when we come back, we still want more of those tweets. We still have our lines open. Let's have this conversation. And of course, we'll be back in just a short while. This is Youth Connect.
The largest private university in East Africa. 164 fully accredited programs. World-class facilities. A network of collaboration with the leading universities. This is Mount Kenya University, unlocking infinite possibilities.
Welcome to the exciting world of M-Truck Solutions, your trusted provider for bulk SMSs. We also offer API integrations for all your communication and payment needs. We also provide you with tailor-made payment gateway solution to receive and disperse cash quickly, affordable and securely. Let us expand your reach and connectivity on USSD, SMS and voice today. Call us on 0723-030-030 or email hello@mtruck.limited.co.ke. For more details, visit our website www.mtrucklimited.co.ke.
Every week, TV47 Primetime News will bring you current affairs told in a different way. We will keep tabs, by the way, on developing stories and also seek to set the agenda as far as news is concerned.
All right, we will endeavor to put light on every spot by asking your questions while holding power to account.
Indeed, and to the youth in Kenya and across Africa, that connecting factor that you've been waiting for is finally here.
Now, the showbiz industry in Kenya is worth over 200 billion shillings, with more youth joining the scene. There is need to have real conversations with key players.
Don't forget, we will bring you news that depicts the real living situations of people living within the diaspora.
And we go on ground in search of facts. Facts that will help us put your leaders to task in regards to the pledges they made to you.
right, welcome back. Thank you so much for still being with us right here on Youth Connect on TV47. My name, as always, is Eugene Anangwe. This is a program that aims at actually connecting and having conversations that are solutions based around young people. It's a panel that is actually very well balanced. I don't know if Ronnie will agree on that, but of course we have a very able panel. That is what I'm very sure about, to talk about this particular issue. You can always be part of the program. All you need to do is tweet at Eugene Anangwe or at TV47KE and add the hashtag Youth Connect. We'll be able to sample those tweets right here. We've just come back from a break, but we're still taking some of your tweets right here. But before we come back to the video wall here, let me bring back Elizabeth from Equip Africa. Elizabeth, we've been talking about the issue of the skills, but we've been told that times are changing, things are changing. The skill sets that were needed long ago are probably not the same that we need today, and probably that's where the disconnect is coming. We are training young people who go out and find that they're actually not doing what the job market needs out there. What is it that you're doing in your space of higher learning to actually change this, Elizabeth?
Yeah, thank you. For our institution, that is Equip Africa Institute, we have embraced the new curriculum by TVET CEDAC. That is competence-based education and training. Specifically, this is a government new curriculum. And what the curriculum now is looking into is that it has been redefined and it has been reconstructed and developed afresh to fit the job market.
And we're sure that the graduates who are going to graduate are going to be very well aligned with what the market needs.
Yes, because what happens is that in this curriculum, the expectation is that they have interacted. For them to come up with this curriculum, they have interacted with. Actually, the curriculum has been developed together with the sector advisory committee, which is actually which comprise the people in the industry, the stakeholders, the government, and all other interested parties to come up with a curriculum. And what is this curriculum is actually what this curriculum is using is occupational standards from the industry. I'll give an example. If it is the agriculture industry, if it is a program like aquaculture, they have partnered with people who are actually in aquaculture, the industry itself, to come up with occupational standards specifically geared towards what are the expected, the expectation, what is the outcome. This learner is supposed to come out having acquired these particular skills such that the learner also gets to engage with the industry in the learning process. And when they get out, they are actually expected to perform those tasks or the skills right away, not to be taken to the industry and then the industry starts retraining them again. And why we have adapted this curricula is because it's a vast curricula in all sectors, even in theater, in tourism, in agriculture, in health, and it is an all-encompassing curricula that is actually looking at the interests, the talents, the God-given talents of the youth.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Ronnie, what has been missing in our education sector? Because this is where actually the engine, the factory of the skills that we're talking about right here, because the new jobs or the jobs of the future will require a lot of skills that we need to actually impart in the young people. Do you think the curricular change is actually the way to go, or there's more that needs to be done other than that?
I think the curricular change is the first step in the right direction in terms of just disrupting the process of learning. But I think more importantly is then the content that we transfer to these learners. And so far our content has been static. If you look at what my children today are learning in class 1, well, at least the curriculum has changed. But my daughter is in class 6 now. If you look at what she's learning in class 6 today, it's what I studied in class 6, whatever number of years ago that was.
Yeah.
Right?
And a lot has changed.
So content has remained static. What we need to appreciate then is that the process of learning through competency-based is brilliant. I think it is a step in the right direction. I hope the execution is going to be spot on. But the content must also shift. We must begin to think about the future of work. What does the future... We would not be having this conversation if 20 years ago the nation had this conversation about what work would look like in 2020. But we didn't. Therefore, we need to be having a conversation about what work will look like in 2040 or 2030. In fact, now it's changing even more rapidly. In another 10 years, in another 15 years, what will work look like? It is that work that we need to start then building skills for. And a lot of work now, let's be honest, is going digital in everything. You know, bankers have been disrupted by fintech. Agriculture is being disrupted by agri-tech. You know, there's disruption happening everywhere. Now there's big conversation around GovTech, how GovTech is coming, GovTech, civic tech, and RegTech that are coming to disrupt how government is actually run. So we will no longer be talking about sending kids to study about civics. That will be taken over, right? So we need to think 10, 15 years from today. What are the skills we require? How do we start building those skills? A lot of those skills are not going to be hard skills. They're going to be these social skills you were talking about. It's how do you interact? How do you collaborate? How do you design things and deliver? So I think moving competency-based is the first step. Content is the next step.
Right. Amanda, what would the jobs for the future look like, and how do we prepare ourselves? And probably if it is not for us, those who are watching us right now, the young generation, what do they need to be preparing themselves for?
Well, I'd say the future of the job market or the job scene is going to be really fluid. So we need to be super agile and capitalize on opportunities. So depending on which spectrum you fall on, because some can say automation has made people lose jobs, but are you going to be the one who said automation made me get a job? You know, so be as fluid and as agile as possible. And even as we're talking about the curriculum, some institutions of higher learning have capitalized on the opportunity where you find short courses on social media marketing, digital marketing. So are you going to harness the opportunity or fall by the wayside with the rest who are complaining that, you know, this age of disruption, well, are you going to stay ahead of the pack? So I think as youth, we just need to be on our toes and be on the lookout for change. So wherever the change is, let's be quick to capitalize on that and think on our feet. So that's what I'd say.
Right.
Yeah.
Nancy, you've been looking for a job. You've been saying how it's been difficult to actually get one. Probably your potential employer or actually someone who might help you out on your way, or even yourself from listening to the rest of the panelists. What kind of job are you looking for?
Wow, I didn't see that coming. Your job, for starters.
She wants my job on my show. Yes, go ahead.
But, okay, I've listened to everything they've said. It's basically things that people have been telling me over and over again. And, you know, Ronnie mentioned that I should work on acting because now that's my keep. That's what I should be focusing on right now. But to be honest, even that industry is not really, we're fighting so hard to like make it be, what is the word that I should use?
Lucrative, more lucrative.
Or workable. Or workable, because even in acting industry there's been a lot of issues that we have been struggling to address. And when there was this whole thing about digital coming through, the way you were saying, disruption, and a lot of TV stations were not making as much money as they were before, so that meant that the programs that had hired us had to be cut off, you know, to just accommodate the new budgets with the TV station. So a lot of actors, and this really inspired me. Actually, there was a time even I was looking for, all I was looking for was a phone that has a good camera and a big memory and a laptop to, just start doing my own things. That's all I was looking for, because I have so many ideas that I really would like to do and to put there on the platform, but sometimes I share them with my friends and they end up putting them on their platforms, and we just laugh together, because I'm like, at the end of the day, something good came out of that. So, and it's also because I don't have the equipment to do that myself. So if someone else takes it up, then
so you need equipment.
Yeah.
And you have what it takes.
Because we've discovered as of the moment, with the so many interviews I've gone to, some of them are not interviews, like sending CVs all over, you never get a call back. You tell these people, sometimes I don't market myself well on paper, but in person, I will market for you. I will show you. I'm more like, let me show you how resourceful I can be, how I can do this and that. But on paperwork, you can just write, what you've done, and sometimes even school, because I remember one interview I went to for a very big organization. I didn't know anyone there.
Remember your potential employers watching, pitch.
Yes. So at the end of it, I was told it's hard to hire you over someone who has a PhD. You're great in paper. You're great in person. You can do this job. You've done it before. We've called your referees, and we know you can do it. I am that good, but I just don't know how to do that on paper. So that's why maybe you guys never call me for an interview, and you never give me a chance to actually show how good I am. So that's why now I want to challenge Eugene to let me do a bit of news on the screen.
Sawa.
Okay, that sounded better in my head.
Sawa. So I think what we can do right here, we'll be able to speak about what we'll be able to do right here at TV47 on the same. But of course, I want to hear who hasn't spoken. Just last thoughts. Where do we go from here? How do we change status quo? How do we not come back on having this conversation and have the same complaints of corruption? I must know so-and-so. I do not have this particular skill set. Where do we go from here? Maybe Elizabeth, as we close.
Yes, I think the conversation should be around all stakeholders, because right from parents engaging with their children and, the learning institution, the work environment and the opportunities. And like Lonnie said, there's the mindset that people have is that there's the job, the employability job, and the business. But there's a lot in between that actually people can be able to engage in. The idea is just to have the right connections. And I think moving forward then, is that each and every stakeholder should engage in coming up with, doing their role and engaging more. Maybe the government, the private sector should come up with how to connect. For instance, in our institution, we are getting to connect or to have connections with industry, players in the industry. Like we are in the process of having linkages with different organizations, so that even as the students continue learning, they are engaging in the day-to-day, programs that they can get to know what is there in the market, not only in the market, but also out of the market. And linking with an organization like LIWA, linking industry with academia, it's a good connection. As the students are learning, they get to know what is happening and how the world is changing. But I think the most important thing is that we start right from the word go, that we let our children and we help our children learn what they can do best. So that moving forward, we are walking in line with what and guiding them in what they are actually good at, not choosing what we are good at or what we want to have in our children that we did not actualize as parents.
Parents. Perfect. Ronnie, you want to take another round? Because I'm just taking the closing remarks from all the panelists, and then we will call it an evening.
I think she's summarized it pretty well.
It's a conference. You can talk about the internship, the fact that, because we have some young people who want jobs, they want to be employed. and a company says we are full, we do not have openings for employment, but we have space for internship. Would you mind coming for internship? We have some who are not open for that. They might tell you that then I need transport, I need this. Let's encourage them.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, everything we've been talking about this evening is about, if you want to be more employable, so in a manner of speaking, you need to build your skills. You need to put in as much effort to build your skills, taking on free gigs, taking on internships, mentorship, plugging yourself into networks and circles where you will learn more, grow more, become better at what you do. So that is absolutely what it is about. And it goes back to what she was talking about.
Yeah.
That the entire ecosystem, all the stakeholders, including the learners, including the guys who don't have jobs today, are unemployed, need to have a role to play in making themselves employable or creating opportunities. So I think it's a narrative that needs to shift. We've talked about this. So there's the skills narrative, there's the whole story about the value of education and why we go through the education process in the first place. But there's also, I think, an issue we've not spoken about sufficiently, and I hope we will find time to come back to it, is what do the future jobs look like?
Yeah.
How do we redefine those jobs? How do we start building those skills now?
Thank you. Amanda, where do we go from here? I mean, if we're going to talk about young people who have been watching us tonight, where do we move from here? And what is your commitment? Ronnie earlier on was given a task of actually becoming a mentor, and which he took gracefully. What is your commitment tonight?
Okay, so my commitment is for those interested in agriculture. Please send me a tweet at Amanda Namai, and also to add on to the discussions that we're having tonight. Elizabeth spoke about the change in curriculum and also the change in skill set, and I'd like to talk about the mind. Your mind is very, very powerful. So let's be renewed by the transformation of your mind. So let's be quick to think of what can be and not what is not. So by that, there are those who can be singing, there are no jobs, and we are tamaking, and they're sending pictures of shoes that are worn out and dirty. But when you construe your mind to think of the good, then act on that good. And as both of them have said, and I don't mean to repeat myself, in addition to that, find your purpose rooted in God.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you. Nancy, you're the only one who did not have a title out of all the panelists. When you talk about title, job, working somewhere. Talk to me about what you've learned tonight and what you're planning to do with it when you leave the set of Youth Connect tonight as we end the show tonight.
Ask myself who I am, what's my purpose in life. Also, I realize I have social skills that I've not been putting to work, so I'm going to do that. Should employment come along the way, well and good. Should it not come, I'll just stop whining about it, because that's not the way to go forward. But that would be the way to go forward, because like I was telling them when we were having an argument in between the breaks, some people find comfort in employment. Like that comfort of your salary is coming in every month, that's just perfect for some people, or at a particular time your money will come. But this fear of unknown, like you don't know how you will survive next month, you don't know how you'll survive the following month, it's what now maybe it's not good for some people. Like, we are just different. Again, that's how the society works. But I'm going to dig deeper into like my social skills, and who knows,
Right. You might be standing where I am today. Thank you so much.
Too.
Thank you very much. Actually, to all our panelists, I want to say thank you very much. To all those who've been tweeting, I have one last one here from Keith, who's been saying, I wake up every morning to go to work alongside a few 100,000 government workers who are close to or over the age of retirement. How is this not government job opportunities. She's not a happy child. Thank you so much, Keith, for that one right there. We have a very, from Shine Kibera, it says, great show. Thank you very much. Talent and innovation from Kijana Stevie. And he says, talent and innovation through digital skills and technology can offer lots of jobs if well resourced. That's a tip right there for you. Go ahead and take it. I have another one from James, says, it's time to focus on creative industries. It's multi-billion industry. I think, Nancy, you can hear that. It's just telling you what we need to be doing right now. Thank you very much. I think we've been able to capture most of the things that we wanted to talk about on this premiere episode. It's a conversation that cannot end here. It has to continue, but it's good that we've started it today so that the future generations are not going to blame us on why we never had this conversation at all, just like Ronnie said earlier on. And I want to say thank you so much for making time to be part of this particular program. We'll see you again on Sunday and every other Sunday from 8 p.m. right here on TV47. As always, my name is Eugene Anangwe. Goodbye for now.
Those fun weekends with the baddies, holiday getaways, baby showers, and any other mashup event, we got you back. Welcome to Woodland Resort. For comfort and elegance